Recording video.
You all have probably seen my post that is up. I did 2 posts, one right before I went to the dentist and one right after. Good thing is this bone spicule isn't as bad as originally thought, though it did hurt like a bummer. They said it was from the swelling and the inflammation of the tissues, but I'm taking the antibiotics, and he said over time this should flake off. It's just a little minor one, not much bone involvement at all, though there is a bone splinter sticking out in that area. So it has worn off a bit since, well, my last video. It's not catching my tongue as much, which is a plus. So we're okay there. For the Flying Jake show, you're going to think this is awesome. I posted back in December. I don't know what happened to it, though, but I'm going to have to repost as soon as I can get another laptop where I could access my hard drive. But I did an interview with Nancy Weiss, and the topic was the Judge Rotenberg Center, which uses electric shock therapy. Well, they call it therapy. I call it torture, on people with physical and mental disabilities. These are autistic and, other things. And these people are made to use to wear these backpacks that have electrodes connected to wires that radiate outward from this backpack to different points on their bodies, around their wrists, across their abdomens, on the calves of their legs. And there have been even reports of people having to wear these on the tips of their fingers and toes. How horrifically torturing. There was a boy named Andre McCollins who was tied down and shocked a total of 31 times in a 7-hour period because he refused to take off his jacket. And just a whole lot of stuff. But I interviewed Nancy, but I don't know what happened to that interview. I was looking to see my ratings on my podcast, and my show was empty. So first episode I published being yesterday, and I say first because it was going to be the second, but it's didn't quite go anywhere. It's the first episode that I published yesterday. The podcast didn't go anywhere because I hadn't, I don't know what happened to my interview with Nancy Weiss, but I do have it archived on my external hard drive. But anyway, the first episode, which is now, is an interview with Dr. Richard Cytowic, and the topic is synesthesia. Quite an interesting topic. I began a podcast on what I talked about on YouTube, legal urban exploration, and I'm getting in the works to interview somebody at a tattoo parlor here in Plattsmouth to talk about the art of tattooing. So that'll be a plus. There's just a whole lot of stuff that I plan on putting together for the podcast, being that Spotify is not hosting its app for the phone, its iPhone app anymore. The Spotify for Podcasters app, which was Anchor FM a while back. Anchor FM had changed to Spotify for Podcasters. Spotify is no longer hosting that. They're no longer updating that. It's all kaput. So I had to come up with another way of doing podcasts, and I found Podcast Maker. It is an awesome app, and for only $20. I think it's $20. Anyway, it's in the 20s, but I get a lifetime piece of software. No registration needed. It's a lifetime. You don't need a license. You have your own software that has access to music, jingles, etc. And you could do your rough recordings here and then upload them to Spotify once you save them in your library, which is really cool. This is easier for me to work with. Spotify for podcasters was a bit difficult. Remember, it was Anchor. It was a little bit. There were some things that I didn't like about it. I couldn't dub in my phone calls that I recorded on Tape-A-Call, an app on the iPhone, so I couldn't do my interview mixing and everything. There was a lot about Anchor that I liked, a lot that I didn't like. But now we have Podcast Maker. I got that on my iPhone, and that's how I was able to mix my phone interview with Dr. Richard Saitoic in with the podcast yesterday, the podcast episode. So once again, as soon as I get my computer, get a new laptop, because I would like to access my hard drive for some things, but as soon as that's up and running, I am going to transfer that interview with Nancy Weiss over to my phone and do the podcast episode regarding the JRC, Judge Rotenberg Center in Canton, Massachusetts. Other podcasts will be coming, episodes will be coming soon. You can find my Spotify. Just look up my podcast. You can look up The Flying Jake Show, and that's spelled with a G after Flyin. Flying, Jake Show, on Spotify and iHeart. You can find it there. I also plan on setting up a time to interview Edan Friedman, who is the manufacturer of these 3D printed air raid sirens, like the one I have, the 2T22. Want to do a kind of a reboot of that interview in a better situation, because now that I have the Tape-A-Call app, it's pretty cool because you record directly on the iPhone. It's not using a secondary recording device to do it, so I don't have a lot of reverb, don't have a lot of background noise. It's right here, just like the interview with Dr. Richard Saitoic, as clear as a bell. So that'll be cool to set up a time to interview Edan Friedman when he gets the time to do so, because he's mighty busy, because he works with his dad. His dad works in construction, and also Edan has a music video on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Look it up. It's pretty cool. It's called Masquerade. I listened to it. I like the song personally. It's really cool. But I hope to get into the works, an interview with Edan, and we'll go from there. So I'm Flying Jake. This has been an update on things. I'll be back with more YouTube content. Take care.